Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Our viewers joining us from every corner of the globe. You are watching the Tennis Deep Dive, and I am your host. Ladies and gentlemen, we often talk about the arrival of a new generation in tennis. We speak of the change of the guard, the next big thing, or the future slam champions. But rarely, very rarely, do we witness a moment that stops the sporting world in its tracks, a moment that transcends the boundaries of the court and becomes a cultural phenomenon. Today at Melbourne Park, under the searing Australian sun, we didn't just watch a tennis match. We witnessed an uprising. We witnessed history being rewritten with the violent grace of a forehand winner down the line. The headlines are already writing themselves, but the reality on the ground was far more visceral. The 2026 Australian Open has delivered its first true earthquake. The Philippines Golden Girl, the 20-year-old sensation who has been steadily climbing the mountains of the WTA rankings, Alexandra Eala, has done the unthinkable. In a second-round clash that was billed as a battle of styles, a battle of experience versus youth, and quite literally a battle against the count, Eala has shocked the world. She went head-to-head with the world number 37, Romania's fierce and flamboyant Jaqueline, a player known to fans as Dracula, for her dramatic entrances and lethal court presence. And she didn't just survive. She didn't just compete. Eala conquered. Let's set the stage before we dissect the anatomy of this miracle. Coming into this match, the narrative was heavily skewed. Jaqueline, sitting comfortably inside the top 40, is a seasoned campaigner on the tour. She is known for her heavy hitting, her intimidation tactics, and that nickname, Dracula, which she earned through her cape-wearing theatrics and her ruthless ability to drain the life out of opponents in long rallies. She was a favorite. She had the ranking, the power, and the experience on the big stages. On the other side of the net stood Eala, fresh off breaking into the WTA top 50 for the first time in her career. Sitting at a career-high ranking of 49, Eala entered Melbourne Park with quiet confidence. She had a spectacular warm-up season, reaching the semifinals at the ASB Classic in Auckland and claiming the Yvonne Goolagong Collie Trophy at the Kooyong Classic just days ago. But a Grand Slam main draw against a seeded caliber opponent? That is a different beast entirely. The world expected a learning experience for the young Filipina. The pundits predicted a tough three-setter where experience would prevail. Instead, what we got was a masterclass in tactical intelligence and sheer mental fortitude. The final scoreline will be etched in the memories of Filipino sports fans forever. 4-6, 7-5, 6-3. But those numbers don't tell the full story. They don't tell you about the first set, where Christian's power seemed overwhelming, with a Dracula nickname felt all too real as she punished Eala's second serve. They don't tell you about the second set, where Eala was down a break, staring elimination in the face, with the scorching Melbourne heat bearing down on her. And they certainly don't tell you about the third set, a set where the 20-year-old from Quezon City didn't crack under pressure, but instead elevated her game to a level we have rarely seen from a player her age. This victory sends Eala into the third round of the Australian Open, a historic first for her and a monumental achievement for Philippine tennis. She is now venturing into deep waters, uncharted territory for a Southeast Asian player in the modern era of this magnitude. Why is the whole world shocked? Because Jaqueline was in form. She was playing some of the best tennis of her life. And for Eala to dismantle her, not just with power, but with geometry, with grit, and with a left-handed forehand that is quickly becoming one of the most feared weapons on the tour, is a statement. It is a declaration that Eala is no longer a prospect. She is a contender. The atmosphere at Court 3 was electric. The Little Manila crowd, the famously passionate Filipino community in Melbourne, turned a tennis match into a Davis Cup atmosphere. Every point won by Eala was met with a roar that could be heard on Rod Laver Arena. And when the Dracula of the court, attempted to bite back, Eala was the one holding the stake. In today's extensive coverage, we are not just going to gloss over the highlights. We are going deep. We are going to analyze the tactical adjustments Eala made after losing the first set. We will discuss the psychological warfare Jaqueline attempted to wage and how Eala's training at the Rafa Nadal Academy prepared her for exactly this kind of dogfight. We will look at the stats, the unforced errors, the breakpoint conversion rates, and the net approaches that define this match. We will also look at the broader context. What does this mean for the WTA rankings? Eala is projected to rise even higher after this win. What does this mean for her next opponent? And most importantly, is this the moment Eala transitions from a rising star to a legitimate superstar? Buckle up, tennis fans. The Australian Open has just found its Cinderella story. But this Cinderella isn't looking for a glass slipper. She's looking for the trophy. Eala has defeated the Dracula of the WTA, and in doing so, she has announced to the world, I am here, and I am not going anywhere. This is the breakdown of the match of the tournament so far. Now, let's peel back the layers of this encounter. To understand the magnitude of this victory, we first have to understand the opponent. The opponent, the myth of Dracula, Jaqueline Christian, is not your average top 50 player. The Romanian star has cultivated a persona that is unique on the tour. The nickname Dracula isn't just a nod to her Transylvanian roots. It reflects her game style. She plays with relentless, baseline-hugging aggression. She absorbs pace and redirects it with interest. Historically, she thrives against younger players because she forces them to overhit. She baits you into going for lines that aren't there. Coming into this round 2 match, Christian's strategy was clear. Target the Eala backhand, exploit the kick serve, and use her superior physical strength to dominate the long rallies. In the early stages of the match, this blueprint worked to perfection. Set 1. The reality check the first set was a difficult watch for Eala fans. Christian came out firing. She broke Eala's serve in the very first game, silencing the raucous Filipino crowd momentarily. Eala looked tight. Her footwork, usually so precise, was a half-step slow. You could see the nerves of the occasion. This wasn't the Kion Classic. This was a Grand Slam stage, and the ball comes off the racket differently when there are ranking points on the line. Christian took the first set 6-4, but it felt more dominant than the score suggests. She was winning 80% of her first serve points. She was pushing Eala 6 feet behind the baseline. At this point, the shock we are talking about seemed impossible. It looked like a routine day at the office for the veteran. The narrative was settling in. Eala is good, but not quite ready for the top 40 power. The turning point, tactical brilliance this, is where the genius of Eala and her coaching team came into play. In the break between sets, something changed. Eala didn't come out swinging wildly in the second set. She came out with a different geometry. Instead of trying to out-hit Christian from the baseline, a losing battle against the Romanian's flat power, Eala started using the angles. As a lefty, Eala possesses a natural advantage serving into the ad court, sliding the ball away from right-handed opponents. In the second set, she abused this pattern. She started pulling Christian off the court, opening up the line for that trademark forehand. But the real shift was the height of the ball. Eala began using more topspin, looping the ball high to Christian's backhand. Christian, who likes to hit the ball at hip height, suddenly found herself having to generate power from shoulder height. It was a subtle adjustment, but it disrupted the Romanian's rhythm. The Dracula, who was feasting on pace in the first set, was suddenly starving for it. Set 2, the dogfight the second set, was a war of attrition. It went to 5-5. The tension in Melbourne Park was palpable. This was the moment where young players usually crumble. A double fault here, a tight forehand there, and it's over. But Eala, she went into lockdown mode. At 6-5, with Christian serving to stay in the set, Eala produced 3 of the best points of her career. A drop shot that died in the red Australian dust, followed by a passing shot that clipped the line. She broke Christian to take the set 7-5. The roar from the crowd was deafening. You could see Christian's body language change. The cape was off. The vulnerability was exposed. Set 3. The kill the third set was a revelation. If the second set was about grit, the third set was about dominance. Eala, fueled by the adrenaline of the comeback, started playing front foot tennis. She was stepping inside the baseline, taking the ball early, effectively robbing Christian of time. We need to talk about Eala's fitness. 2 years ago, Maybe even 1 year ago, she might have faded physically in a 3-hour match against a physical specimen like Christian. But today, she looked fresher in the third hour than she did in the first. Her movement to the forehand side was explosive. The critical break came at 3-2 in the decider. Christian, visibly frustrated by Eala's retrieval skills, tried to force a winner down the line and missed by inches. Eala secured the break, and from there, she never looked back. She served out the match at 5-3 with the poise of a veteran. An ace out wide, her fifth of the match, sealed the deal. The Little Manila factor. We cannot analyze this match without mentioning the environment. Tennis is often called an individual sport, but today, Eala was playing doubles with the crowd. The Filipino diaspora in Australia is massive, and they showed up in force. Flags, face paint, chants of Laban Alex. Fight Alex reverberated around the court. Psychologically, this had a massive impact. For Christian, it must have felt like playing an away game in Bucharest. Every unforced error she made was cheered. Every winner Eala hit was celebrated like a goal in the World Cup. Eala fed off this energy. In her post-match interview, she acknowledged it, saying the crowd carried her through the fatigue of the second set. Statistical breakdown. Let's look at the numbers that mattered. Breakpoint conversion. Eala converted 4 out of 6 breakpoints. Clinical. In the big moments, she didn't hesitate. Unforced errors. In the third set, Eala committed only 4 unforced errors compared to Christian's 12. That is the stat of a champion. Net points. This is the evolution of Eala's game. She came to the net 15 times and won 12 of those points. She is no longer just a baseliner. She is becoming an all-court player. The significance of the Dracula narrative the media loves a villain, and Jaqueline Christian plays the role of the anti-hero well with her dramatic flair. By defeating a character as vibrant as Dracula, Eala inserts herself into the global tennis conversation. It's not just player A beat player B. It's the young hero slew the vampire. It's a storyline that transcends the sport. It grabs the attention of casual fans. Contextualizing the 2026 season, this win doesn't happen in a vacuum. It is the culmination of a perfect storm. Eala's 2025 season was about consistency. Her 2026 season is about breakthrough. Breaking the top 50 was the first step. Winning a round at a slam was the second. Beating a top 40 player in a slam is the third. We are seeing the results of her continued partnership with the Rafa Nadal Academy. You can see Rafa's DNA in her game. The never-say-die attitude, the heavy topspin forehand, the fist pumps after crucial points. But she is also carving out her own identity. She is calm, she is articulate, and she is incredibly marketable. For the Philippines, a nation obsessed with basketball and boxing, Eala is carving out a new space. She is proving that Filipinos can dominate in global tennis. Alongside the gymnastic success of Carlos Yulo, Eala is spearheading a golden era of Philippine sports. This victory over Christian will likely be the front-page news in Manila tomorrow, and rightfully so. The ranking implications live ranking suggests this win pushes Eala even further up the ladder, potentially cracking the top 45. This is crucial because it gets her direct entry into bigger tournaments, the WTA 1000s in Indian Wells and Miami. She is moving out of the qualifier zone and into the main draw staple zone. That changes a career trajectory. It means more rest, more prize money to invest in her team, and better practice courts. As we wrap up the analysis of the match itself, we have to marvel at the composure. At 5-3 in the third set, serving for the biggest win of her life, Eala didn't double fault. She didn't push the ball. She hit her spots. That is not something you can teach. You either have that ice in your veins or you don't. Eala has it. So, where do we go from here? The dust is settling on court 3, but the shock waves are just beginning to ripple out. Eala is in the round of 32 of the Australian Open. Let that sink in. She has navigated past the dangerous first round. She has slain the Dracula in the second, and now she looks ahead. The draw is opening up. The confidence is sky high. And perhaps most importantly, the world is finally watching. We often ask when a prospect becomes a contender. For Eala, That moment was today. She didn't just beat Jaqueline Christian. She outplayed her, outthought her, and outfought her. She took the drama, the theatrics, and the pressure, and she swallowed it whole. To our Filipino viewers, cherish this moment. You are watching the ascent of a global icon in real time. To the global tennis community, take notice. The lefty from Quezon City is not just a participant anymore. She is a problem for the rest of the tour. We will be following Eala's journey through the third round and beyond right here on this channel. Can she go deeper? Can she reach the second week? Based on what we saw today, I wouldn't bet against her. The serve is clicking. The forehand is lethal in the heart. The heart is undoubtedly that of a champion. This has been a special edition of the Tennis Deep Dive. We witnessed history today. We witnessed the Dracula fall and star rise. If you enjoyed this extensive breakdown, make sure you are subscribed. We will have full coverage of Eala's next match, post-match press conference analysis, and much more. I'm your host, signing off from a day that will go down in the history books of Asian tennis. Eala wins. The world is shocked, and the Australian Open just got a whole lot more interesting. Good night, and keep your eye on the ball.